In this video, we are looking at solving equations using multiplication or division. So we've got a few properties to look at first. So the first one is the multiplication property of equality. So when you multiply each side of an equation by the same non-zero number, so any number that's not zero, the two sides will remain equal. So looking at this example here, we have 4 halves equals 2. Now we know that to be true. We know 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. So 4 halves equals 2. Now if we were to multiply both of these sides by 2 here, as I've shown, the two sides of the equation will still remain equal. So 2 times 4 over 2, or 2 times 4 halves, is simply equal to 4. And 2 times 2 is also equal to 4. Another example of that, let's even stick more simply, 3 is equal to 3. Now if we multiplied both of those by 2, or even both of those by 4, we know that that would give us 12 equals 12. So when we multiply both sides of an equation by the same number, the two sides remain equal. Now another important property is the multiplicative inverse property, which says that the product of a non-zero number n and its reciprocal 1 over n is 1. So if you remember reciprocals from dividing fractions, right? For example, the reciprocal of, let's say, 3/4 would be 4/3. Okay, now the product of a number and its reciprocal, so if we multiply these, will always be equal to 1. So 3/4 times 4/3, right? You could even double check that. You know that 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 3 is 12, and that would equal 1. So anytime we multiply a number by its reciprocal, for example, 5, its reciprocal is 1/5, and if we multiply those, we get 1. So that is the multiplicative inverse property. All right, let's look at a couple examples here. So this first one, we want to solve w over 4, or w divided by 4, equals 12. So, right, we have some number, and when we divide it by 4, that equals 12. So again, we always want to work to isolate w in order to solve. So in this case, we want to multiply both sides by 4. Because right now we have w divided by 4 equals 12. So we want to multiply by 4. Again, we always have to do the same thing to both sides. So we multiply both sides by 4, and that leaves us with w equals 12 times 4, which is 48. As always, let's check our work. So we substitute 48 for w, and make sure that 48 divided by 4 equals 12. 4 goes into 4 one time, and 4 goes into 8 twice. So this is the correct solution here. The next one says 2/7 times x equals 6. Now this one might look a little tricky at first, but if we remember that we can multiply anything by its reciprocal to get 1, we can realize that this isn't too difficult. So if we have 2/7 times x, and we multiply that by 7 over 2, its reciprocal, right? 2/7 times 7 over 2 will equal 1. So that would leave us with just 1x. And we know that 1x is simply x. So if we multiply both sides by 7 over 2, we can isolate and solve for x. So we've got 7 over 2 times 2 over 7, that equals 1, leaving us again with just x. And that's equal to 6 times 7 over 2. So we know that 6 times 7 equals 42, and 1 times 2 equals 2, so that would be 42 over 2, or 42 divided by 2, leaving us with x equals 21. So once again, we want to check our answer. So 2/7 x equals 6, and we want to find 2/7 times 21, because that's what we said x was equal to. So if we were to check that, 2 times 21 is 42, and 7 times 1 is 7. So 42 divided by 7 equals 6, and that is true. So this was correct. Another example, we have 65 equals 5b. So 65 is equal to 5 times b. So we had some number b and we multiplied it by 5 and that gave us 65. So we want to isolate b here. The opposite of multiplying by 5 would be dividing by 5. So we will divide both sides by 5 and that would leave us with b is equal to 13. Again, we should check our work. So we've said that b is equal to 13, so we want to substitute here 13 for b. So 65 equals 5 times 13, and we just want to double check that 13 times 5 does indeed equal 65. 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, so that is correct. Finally, let's look at a word problem. It says the area of a room is 132 square feet. The room is 11 feet long. How wide is the room? So if we were to draw a little picture here, we've got a room and its area is 132 square feet. And we know that the length of the room is 11 feet. We want to know what is the width. So if you remember, the area is equal to the length times the width. We already know the area and the length, so we just need to solve for the width. So we know that the area is 132 square feet, and the length is 11 feet. So we know that 11 times w equals 132. So we want to solve here for w. So in this case, we'll divide both sides by 11, and that will leave us with 132 divided by 11 equals w. So we can do our division. 11 goes into 13 once. 13 minus 11 is 2. And 11 goes into 22 twice. So we would get 12 is equal to w. As always, we will check. We said our area is 132, so 132 should be equal to 11 times 12. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. Place holding 0. 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. 2 plus 0 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. So we did get the correct answer. And that is just a quick look at solving equations using multiplication and division.